everyone, my name is Becca. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm here with my weekly update for the Really Magical Readathon. So it's Friday. What's it called? The Readathon started on Monday. So I've only been reading for like 5 days and I've read 7 books. Yeah, this this readathon, like this month, there's going to be, I think, quite a few books that I read. This is not going to be a month where I don't read practically anything. So, okay. I started off the month reading short books. I just really wanted to get as many books as I could done in the very beginning, just so I feel like I'm accomplished in something. So yeah, I started off with, come on, there it goes. Bunny and the Bear by Eva Evergreen. This is a shifter romance between a bunny and a bear. And we follow Miranda, who's, a bunny who's undercover. She has to protect the bear. His name is Chase. And so she goes undercover as like a blonde bimbo kind of a bunny, and he thinks nothing of it because she's like of the weaker of the shifters, and he doesn't want anything to do with how do I say it, like the weaker shifters? I don't know. But then he starts to form an attraction for her, and she starts to form an attraction to him, and they get close, and it's all to like, she's undercover because she needs to protect him from being taken. They're finding that the stronger, bigger shifters are being taken and experimented on and killed, and so she's trying to stop that from happening, at least with him. It's like 164 pages. It's not a long book. Really all that happens is some little steam as well as the plot going on. It was cute. It was okay. I gave it 2 stars. So I won't be continuing on with the series, I don't think. But it was nice to just start off the series with a shorter book. And then, well, that was for my prompt, Rabbit on the Cover, which is the 3rd prompt of animal studies. And I had to read all 3. But I started off with the 3rd one. But it's fine. As long as I read the first 2 books, like before the readathon ends, as long as I get all of them done, like how I need to have them done, then I can start wherever. So yeah. After that, I picked up The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I picked this up on audio. And this is really about a kid who, his name is Charlie, and he writes letters, or he's 16, and he writes letters to this girl that nobody knows. He knows of her, and so he writes to her. And he just literally tells her about his life from when he was younger till now. And at first, I didn't really understand what was going on, like what I'm supposed to really understand. Like, we know about his family. He has his 2 parents, his brother and his sister, his Aunt Helen, and then his best friends, Patrick and Sam. Yeah, we know quite a bit, but we're not for me, I didn't understand what the point of the book was until you get to the end. And basically the reason he started writing, which you do find out in the book, is because one of the other students in his class ended up committing suicide. And I believe Charlie was friends with him, but it's not really, like, I can't remember if that was true or not. But at first I didn't really understand why I was supposed to care. Honestly, to me, I don't know if it was the audiobook or if just the way the book was written. It seemed really young to me. I was really surprised when I found out that Charlie was getting his license. I was like, wait, he's not 16. He's like 12. And then I, listened to the book more and I'm like, oh, so he's 16? But he seems 12 or younger, like 10 to 12. So I'm just like, the way he writes and the way that it's spoken, he just seems a lot younger than he is. And I don't know if that's supposed to be intentional. But overall, I ended up giving this book 4 stars. It's more of a 3.5. I thought, once I got to the ending, I thought I understood everything then. And I did appreciate Charlie a lot more and what was going on and understanding why he was writing these letters and what was actually going on in his life. And I do really want to see the movie. I need to see the movie soon. I think I will see it this weekend. So I'll talk to you more about that next week. But overall, I'm glad I read it. I think this was written in the 90s. So I don't know if... I probably would have appreciated it more if I had read it when it first came out. And like when everyone else was reading it when it was coming out. Or when everyone else was hyping it up. But I waited well over a decade to read this book. And at least from when it was being hyped. So I'm glad I picked it up. I'm not sure if I would have liked it more if I had picked it up back then. But 3.5 stars. And then we have the next short book that was 213 pages, by the way. And that was for a book to movie adaptation for a side quest. So yeah. Next up, I picked up Teen Titans Raven by Cami Garcia and illustrated by Gabriel Piccolo. And this is basically the origin story of Raven. We start off with Raven and her mother getting into a car accident, or her adopted mother, and her adopted mother dies, and Raven doesn't remember anything, and she's sent to her adopted mother's sister in Louisiana. And her her adoptive aunt has a daughter. They end up going to school together, and it's basically Raven realizing she has, like, something's going on. She can read thoughts, like she can hear thoughts in her heads from the other students. She can see things that nobody else can see, and she can make people do things that she shouldn't be able to do. Basically, if she's thinking that bitch needs to choke, that bitch gonna choke. So, yeah. I already know the origin story of Raven. This was just a really good reintroductory into it. I thought this was a really good, how should I say it? Origin of Raven. I really enjoyed it. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I gave it 4 stars. I thought the illustrations was really well done, and I will definitely be continuing on with that series. The next one is for Beast Boy, so I can't wait. And that one was for the second prompt in Animal Studies, was for Raven on the cover title. So, yeah, I moved my way up for Animal Studies. This notebook. Okay, so I basically wanted to stay, oh, by the way, that was 184 pages. I basically wanted to stay on the first page. From then on, I was just like, the first page of prompts, which is my Alchemy, Animal Studies, Art Evolution, and Astronomy prompts. So I just pretty much was like, I'm just going to stay on here with these prompts for right now and just read these books and move on, after I read so many of them. So after I read Raven, I ended up picking up, well, actually I own the physical copy. I ended up picking up Christmas in Quincy by Daphne Perry. This is the prequel to the Eden series, so book 0.5. And this one follows Cleo, who is an owner of a bakery in California. can't remember where the bakery is located and where her family is from, but her father is a billionaire, and he is very overprotective because his wife was murdered. And so he has been keeping a very close eye on Cleo for a while. Even though she's 28, she can take care of herself. He still has bodyguards on her. And so she decides that since it's Christmas and she hasn't had a vacation in a long time and she's just kind of done with her family and everything right now, she would just go on vacation to Quincy and stay at the Eloise Hotel and just have a nice kind of few days to relax. And enter Austin, the head of her father's security company, or the head of, like, it's not her father's security company, it's Austin's security company, but yeah. He's basically her main bodyguard. And he finds her and is trying to take her back home because her father is pissed off and wants her back home. And she is adamant about staying. So they end up staying the whole time together. Like, he has no choice. And she just really needs to get away from her family. And she believes that Austin hates her, and Austin believes that she doesn't really give a shit about him. But he also needs to stay away from her because he doesn't want to lose her father as a client because they really need the money. And he knows that he has a lot of feelings for Cleo. Like, very deep feelings for her, but he just can't act on them because he doesn't want to lose her father as his client. And while they're stuck in a small town in a hotel together, and things happen. This was so good. So again, we're at Juniper Hill. I talked about this in my wrap up, but Juniper Hill made me extremely hungry because Knox is a chef and makes a lot of food and stuff. And I'm just hungry thinking about it. This also made me extremely hungry with all the bakery stuff, like all the pastries and things like that were being talked about. And yeah, just know that going into this was a 5-star read. I absolutely loved it. This was 144 pages, and this was for my Art of Illusion second prompt, which was a book under 300 pages. So I read that. That is done. Okay, so after that, I decided to pick up the first prompt in the Animal Studies exam, which was to read a book with a familiar / animal companion, and that was Eva Evergreen, Semi-Magical Witch by Julia Bay. I gave this 4 stars. This had so many Kiki's Delivery Service vibes. I absolutely loved it. We follow Eva Evergreen, who I think she's 12. She's like 11 or 12. And she's gone through a lot of her childhood thinking that she didn't have any magic. She comes from a very magical mother. Her mother has a lot of power. And her father has no magic at all. And she has felt that she was not going to have any magic until one day she realizes she has a pinch of magic. Very little, but it's there. And the magical council deems that if you have any sort of magic, you need to go on a quest, like an adventure, and help out a town in order to become like a novice witch. And she has to go do that even though someone in the council doesn't want her to, which is kind of stupid, but yeah. And they're trying to stop her from, completing this, but she will do anything she can to become a novice witch and make like her mother and her father proud of her, and also show herself that she can do it, that she can do what she sets her mind to. And she ends up going to this town of Aturi, I think it's called, and they are like the town with the festival of lights and things like that, and she needs to save this town from the culling, which I don't honestly know what the culling is to like as a whole, but to me, like, people are disappearing, and it seems like there's these like natural disasters that keep happening towards these towns. It just makes the town like it destroys the town basically. So Eva is tasked with protecting this town and trying to save it from the culling. But also, she is a repair witch. That is where, like, her little magic really lies. And she ends up opening a repair shop in this town and helping everybody repair things. And it's so cute. I really enjoyed it. I gave it like a 4, but it's more of like a 4.5. Honestly, it's one of my favorite books I've read this week. And I just honestly can't wait to read the sequel. I just really enjoyed it. And it's funny because I read Julia Bay's newest book last month, which is The Charmed List. And I didn't necessarily like that. But this worked. As a middle grade, it works so well. And I think as like a YA contemporary, it just doesn't work that good. Also, Eva has a little fox flame named Ember, which is where the magical companion comes from, or the animal companion comes from. And Ember is so cute. Just so cute. I love like little fox flames. Like, I just want to own one so bad. But I really loved learning all of the characters and seeing all their interactions. And it's a really cute book, and I honestly highly recommend it. All right, after that, what else did I read? By the way, Eva Evergreen was 400 pages, so doing good. And then my animal studies exam is over, and I have completed everything. So for Alchemy, I did read a book on someone's worst list. So that's the only one I had to read for Alchemy. And I technically had Second First Impressions by Sally Thorne on there. I did start listening to the audiobook and trying to read this physically when I didn't feel like the audiobook was actually that good. I got about 70 pages in and I just could not continue. I honestly just didn't really care about this. It's a romance set in a retirement villa, and I just didn't care for Ruthie, our main character, or Teddy, our like love interest. So I'm sorry, this just didn't do it for me. I do feel like though if I had actually continued, it might have been better than 99% Mine, but honestly, I'm trying really hard not to continue reading books that I'm not enjoying. So yeah, I DNF'd that one. So I could have used, because I have enough guild points where I can, my reward for all those points is I can DNF books and make them count. Like, so I can count DNF books as completed reads for the Readathon. So technically I would have completed Alchemy even then, but I really wanted to read A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. So, yeah, that's what I did. I've been meaning to like rip the sticker off for a while. That didn't help. So yeah, I decided to pick this up instead and see how this was going. And this is a Hades and Persephone, yeah, it's literally a book about Hades and Persephone. It's not a retelling, it's not a reimagining, it's literally just a book about Hades and Persephone. And we follow, I want to say this is kind of set in modern times. But yeah, we follow Persephone, and she's living in the human world with her best friend Lexa. And she's going to classes, but she ends up getting an internship at this like, I want to say it's like a newspaper, or she gets a reporting job, and her and her best friend decide, I think it's like a celebratory thing, to go to Nevernight, which is a nightclub owned by Hades. And Persephone finds herself entering into a bargain with Hades, or enters into a game with him, and she loses, and she owes him something before the contract that they have entered into will disappear. So he tasks her with growing life in the underworld. And so she has to do that within 6 months, or she is forced to stay with him. But if she can do that, she'll be free. So I loved it. This was a 5-star book. This was so damn good. I absolutely love this book. I want to read more. I really need to pick up A Game of Fate, I think it's called, which is the first book in the Hades saga, which is this book but told in his point of view, which people say that you learn more in that book due to his point of view. So I want to read that, but I also really want to pick up the sequel, which I think is A Touch of Ruin, which will delve more into this, like, you know, it'll go after this, and I really want to read that. It's just so good. I love Hades and Persephone so much. But because she is like interning as to be a reporter, she ends up writing an article on Hades, and things go from there. Romance ensues. It's a little bit of a like a BDSM type romance. Is it? Trying now to remember if that's what it was or if the other book I was reading was that. It's more of like a darker romance. It's not too dark though. I feel like it really wasn't that dark. But I know a lot of people have said that it's more of a darker romance. I honestly really loved it. So yeah, 5 stars. And that was 402 pages. So yeah. And lastly, I think. Is that last? Yeah, right? I read, which is kind of where I was getting the BDSM twist, was Praise by Sarah Kate. This was also 5 stars. I just finished this. I loved this. I loved everything about this. We follow our main characters, Emerson and Charlie. Too many Charlies. And like, I just did my wrap up for July. There were Charlies in that, and there's Charlies in this, and it's just too much. But we follow Charlie, and she just broke up with her boyfriend because he cheated on her. What a dick. And she used to live with him, and so I think they ended up leaving their apartment, so she needs her half of the deposit back. But the deposit ended up going to his dad because he was a co-signer, and Charlie has to go to his dad and get her half of the money back. And when she goes to get that money, he ends up mistaking her for one of the girls his colleague sends him. So he owns what is called the Salacious Players Club, which is a sex club for kinks. Okay? So good. And his kink is he like the dom sub praise kind of kink. And yeah, he expects when he comes into the office to meet with the woman in his office who he thinks is someone that his colleague sent him and not Charlie, who is technically there for her deposit. He tells her to get on her knees, and yeah. So good. It just starts from there. Holy hell. And obviously nothing happens because he finds out that she's who she is, and he ends up offering her a job to work as his secretary. It's so kinky and so smutty and just so good. I absolutely love this book, and I can't wait to read the sequel. But I love Emerson and Charlie. Like, they're just so cute together. And Beau, honestly, like, could fuck off. But also, he's not so bad. You'll see towards the ending. But yeah, it's just so good. It's so good. I absolutely love it. There's also trans rep in here, which I think was done really well. I loved it. I loved everything about this book. I understand why so many people love this book. It's just so good. But yeah, that is all the books that I read. That one was for the Alchemy prompt to read a one-word title. That was technically the 3rd prompt. So I still have to read the 2nd prompt in Alchemy, which is to read an orange book. But technically, I finished my Alchemy exam because I read the first book, or the first prompt. Like, I completed that, so that's good. So yeah. So I read 7 books, which equals to 1,848 pages. So for the first week, which isn't even a full week, that's not bad. I think that was done pretty well. So other than that, I think I will be starting my audiobook of Norse mythology. Oh my God, I should probably show you here, by Neil Gaiman. This is a collection of Norse myths, and I want to read that. So yeah, I'll be listening to it as well as probably reading along with it. So that shouldn't take me too long. Maybe I'll finish it this weekend. We'll see. Then also I really want to read Garnet Flats by Devaney Perry, which is the third book in the Eden series. I don't think it's the last one because we still have Jasper Vale, which is going to be Eloise's book. And then I want to say we'll have one final book after that, which will be this is Talia's book, Lila's book, I think. Because if we're going to follow all the Edens, we need all of them. So Eloise and Lila will be after this one, hopefully. But yeah. This one follows Talia and someone named Foster, who she knew 1 year, 2 months, and 11 days. But that's how long she loved him. And then it took 438 days for her love to die. The day he chose to marry her best friend. It's so fucked up. But yeah, I can't wait. Oh my God. I want to start this book so bad, and I will probably be starting this tonight. As well as probably listening to Norse mythology. Or, what is it called? Yeah, Norse mythology. Okay, be sure. I don't know what to read after that, honestly. I feel like, if anything I can show you, I will probably... No. Also, once I finish Garnet Flats, I'll probably want to read Steel King, which is the first book in her other series, the Clifton Forge series by Devaney Perry. So yeah, I really want to just read all of Devaney Perry, and I have a couple of her books other than the Eden series on here, which is Steel King and Riven Knight. But yeah, those are probably the ones that I'm tentative to. Another audiobook I could pick up is Sherwood by Megan Spooner, so maybe I'll pick that up. But yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know this is just an update and it was a long one because I read a lot. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again later. Bye, and happy reading.